Welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. I'm your host, Toku from It's Toku TV on Twitch. Throughout the week, I'm streaming Vanguard on my Twitch channel. We'll be building decks, playtesting, and just having a grand old time, so be sure to swing on by. With new clan collection reveals coming out every day, you know what that means. It's time for a new chapter of clan collection cores. I want to preface this video and the entirety of the series by saying that many of these lists are entirely conceptual and surface deep, and will need your own playtesting to fine-tune. But each of these will aim to provide a way of thinking on how to take your new support in Clan Collection 3 and 4 and put it into a working deck. They won't all be optimized, but I believe they will be a good baseline to build off of. Welcome to Clan Collection Cores. Dimension Police, the clan hailed for boasting the largest raw power in the game, gains new support in Clan Collections 3 and 4 with a new record of power, this time the lowest raw power. Original Saber Zero really did take its name to heart and turned everything to zero. How will Zero do in a format filled with big attackers? Starting off, our new support is the Grade 3, Original Saber Zero. First thing to mention is that he has zero attack. Any Laurel D Stride gamers here? When Zero attacks from the Vanguard circle or is rode upon, you can counterblast 1 and soul blast 1 to draw a card and choose one of your opponent's units and change its power to 0 until the end of turn. Note that this isn't a lock like Valios would be, so trigger effects can still bring it back to 10k. Second, once per turn, when Zero is attacked, you can discard a Grade 3 to turn that attacking unit's critical to 0. We can appreciate that Original Saber Zero is very thematic. Offensively dropping your opponent to 0 is the same as gaining 13k power on each attack. Zero also comes equipped with a defensive skill, being able to negate an incoming attack by turning their critical to 0 until the end of battle. Reminder that on-hit effects will still go off. Now obviously, if you use this on a Vanguard attack and they drive check a crit, you're still gonna take the damage. But on a rearguard looking to knock you one on the chin, that's where this can shine. Now, at the same time that we're able to debuff our opponent to 0, we are also permanently 0, which means multi-attack decks can abuse us pretty hard. Hopefully, our pros do outweigh the cons, however. The Grade 2 is our new whip, Endless Float. When rode upon, your Vanguard gets 10k until the end of turn. Then, you can pay the cost to discard 1 and call this card from soul to the rear circle. Then, on the rear circle, when this unit attacks, if your Grade 3 unit was placed this turn, this gains 5k until the end of battle. Then, you can retire this and draw a card. Our new wheels are very nice. Our best ride is able to become an attacker as well, and then also convert itself into a new card in hand. What more could I ask for, except for that if it could go into soul instead. Regardless, Endless Float does what its name says it does. It will float onto your board after riding over it, and it will float into a different card once it's done its job. Play 4 copies. Finally, I want to ride my bicycle, I want to ride my bike. Our new Grade 1 is probably a lot faster than my bicycle, however, and that is Eternity Chaser. When rode upon, you can ditch 1 card and reveal up to 1 Grade 3 normal unit in your hand. If so, you can search your deck for up to 1 Grade 3 with another card name from the revealed card and add it to hand. On the back row, when your opponent's rearguard attacks, if that unit's attack is 25,000 or less, you can Soul Blast 1, retire this bike, and choose one of your units, and for the battle it can't be hit. Somebody say heal Guardian Searcher. Not only that, but between the wide assortment of Grade 3s we run, and the desire to have certain ones in hand to ride first depending on the matchup, depending on whether we go first or second, being able to change plans on the go is very much a boon. The second effect can help a lot in those multi-attack matchups where Zero has a hard time going into, but what's great about it is that it doesn't target your opponent's unit, so it does bypass resist in a sense. The Soul Blast cost does add up, however, but if there's one thing our list does well, it's rewriting for Soul. With the new cards introduced and out of the way, let's take a look at our win con and our list, and how Zero plays into it. Going into our fundamental turn, we want to break ride Bradbrack over Zero, and use Zero skill to zero out our opponent's Vanguard. We can attack with one of our rearguards, ideally Eternity Floater, and cycle into a new card and also open up a rearguard circle. Then we swing with Bradbrack and use its skill to find a Grade 3 and also rewrite into ideally the Grade 3 Zeal, which on place calls the top card of our deck to rear. And because, barring any defensive triggers, our opponent is at 0 power, anything we call will hit. With this, we've attacked for 5 times against a 0 power unit, each attack on a force 2 as well ideally. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. Let's break down the list now. So, to play into our win con, we're obviously going to start off our list with 4 copies of Original Saver 0, our ideal grade 3 ride to break ride over to start our 5 attack chain. 4 copies of Brad Brack, our ideal grade 3 re-ride for its end of battle skill to re-ride a grade 3 from hand, namely one of our 4 copies of Galactic Beast Zeal, said aforementioned grade 3 that we look to re-ride for its on Vanguard Circle Policeman to Superior Call the top card of our deck to make our 5th attack. So how do we make it more consistent? We're going to obviously start off by running 4 copies of Eternity Chaser. For its first ability, when rode, to be able to handfix and selectively choose which grade 3 we want to ride into if we're missing a grade 3 that we need, and also for its second skill on the Rearguard Circle to act as a on-field 15k shield or even a 30k shield while on 0. If it wasn't obvious enough, Eternity Chaser is the grade 1 that we always look to ride. However, if worse comes to worse and we aren't able to ride into the Chaser, we do run 4 copies of Eye of Destruction Zeal as an alternative ride option, but also because it's just a high value grade 1 to plop down to dig for a grade 2 ride target, or even the grade 3 Zeal to set up our turns. We are also running 4 copies of Devourer of Planet Zeal, not as a ride target, and not as a big hitter either, but because it's an extra 4 targets that Eye of Destruction Zeal can find to give us that free +1, and because the interaction between the grade 2 Zeal and our Eternity Chasers is very cute. Eternity Chaser being a defensively spec'd card just needs to stay on the field to resolve its effect, and can be a very easy target to rest with grade 2 Zeal's effect. As stated when we ran through the new cards, we are going to be running 4 Endless Floats. Once again, to re-elaborate, an ideal ride target, check. Able to convert itself from soul to a rearguard, check. But also as a rearguard, by activating the first effect, you can already meet the conditions for the second, and that is it will attack for 15k and also convert itself into a new card in hand if you needed more pieces. If you didn't, he can stay around and swing for 15k the next turn as well. Finally, in our last 5 slots, we have our tech, and truth be told, I'm not 100% on these choices yet. But I've opted to run 3 copies of Twin Order to help boost our Vanguard to huge numbers, helping us with getting even bigger numbers while playing Force 2. And also, 2 copies of Miracle Dandy for its ability to gain 10k shield, because while we're on Original Saver 0, we need all the shield we can get, and hopefully Dandy is able to fill that role. As for the trigger lineup, once again we just have to give huge props to the grade 3 Heal Guardian. Acting as a grade 3 that not only can we just hard search now through Eternity Chaser, it means 1 more card that we can discard with Original Zero, and 1 card that we can find out for Brad Black. The list goes on. We're also going to be running 8 criticals and 4 Draw Sentinels. The Draw Sentinels just makes the most sense here, having a 0 power rear. The Draw Sentinels just makes the most sense here. Having a 0 power Vanguard makes the crit Sentinel 13k less effective, so we'll just play the one that doesn't care about power. And we're playing crits for not only their shield value, but for the fact that they can hit our opponent to 4 damage early, and through our multi-attack Force 2 combo, threaten lethal on the next turn right after. As for some other options to run, I feel that aside the 5 tech choices, a lot of the list is set in stone, as Dimension Police is another unfortunate clan that I found suffering through the no countercharge syndrome. And between Zero's Counterblast, Brad Brack's Counterblast, both grade 2 and grade 3 Zeal's Counterblast, your Counterblast has to matter a lot. And Zero's Counterblast is our highest impact Counterblast most times than not, so that's what we'll want to be spending it on. One of my initial ideas was to run Miracle Beauty and the Larrabee engine as our core rearguard option to just get a lot of big multi-attacks off on a 0 power Vanguard, but the Counterblast was way too steep to justify it without any source of countercharge. For the grade 2 slot, we can obviously run Yell Sludge as a way of forcing our opponent to use up their resources, or we can get a drawback as well. Especially in this format where countercharge is few and far in between, most decks will choose to keep their counterblast and give you the draw. I've also thought about running 15k attackers in either Platinum Ace or Common Rider Mass Police Grander. In current format, where most people have opted to running Heal Guardians, the existence of 20k shields is much scarcer, and when you're a 15k attacker attacking into a 0 power Vanguard, you need 20k to guard. So that new magic number may get a lot of mileage. It's something that I'm willing to test. In the grade 1 line, we can also look towards more consistently pieces instead of Twin Order. We could play either die prop or die scoop. Die prop being able to filter a grade 3 to find later in the game for a draw 2 and hopefully a grade 2 to also ride into. Or die scoop, sharing the same role as Eternity Chaser, being able to find a grade 3 off of being rode upon, but plussing your hand instead of filtering it. In conclusion, though I don't think that Zero will push Die Liner out of its current spot as DP's top dog, unfortunately, being a base 0 power is a very large detriment, especially with the amount of Mordred clones and Overlord clones that are popping up nowadays. I do love the thematic flip that it does bring to DP, however, while still maintaining that flavor of grade 3 love, and also like the fact that between Zero and Zeal, you can dip your opponent into the high negatives, and because of Zero, Zeal's top call will always be an extra attack. In any case, this has been it from me on this episode of Clan Collection Cores. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, like the video as it helps motivate us to keep the gears going, and leave a comment down below because every little bit helps the channel. This has been Toku from the YellowCard Vanguard channel. Toku out.